Okay. All right. So, as I'm speaking, we are on December 11th, which would make it a full 3 months. It's only, it feels like longer, but 3 months is longer than you think. That's a full season. So, we are a full season removed from the assassination of Charlie Kirk. You know, I did a video where I wanted to I did 1 month after, I believe, and I wanted to do 2 months, 3 months after, something like that. Or was it 1 week after? I don't remember. I think it was 1 month after. Um, it didn't really work out. I didn't really get a chance to sit down and really, give my thoughts on anything. I was still in the process of collecting my own thoughts and everything. Um, you know, And now I finally got around to it. I knew I wanted to do another follow up, so we're a season after, 1 season after, and I think that's more than enough time. Obviously, Civil War didn't happen, and everything. I think this is a good picture of kind of what the fallout is going to be, um, because of that this assassination. And long story short, yeah, it just became political. It became completely political. It became completely partisan. Any hope that you know, I'm giving my opinion. So any hope that I would have, at least, and other people that feel similar to me, um, that perhaps this would be a wake up call for people. Perhaps this would be a a catalyst. This could be the start of a paradigm shift in our political discourse. Just absolutely not. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, that's not to say that there hasn't been fallout within, the right wing space, but it wasn't really even about that. The fallout's like kind of like an Israel versus not type thing. There's a lot of conspiracy theories that Israel has something to do with his death because near the end of Charlie Kirk's life, he was growing more anti-Israel. I guess that's my understanding of it. I'm not really big into conspiracies like that, and there doesn't really seem to be any evidence outside of circumstance. So I'm not really big into it, but there has been a huge kind of civil war going on within the right wing space. The Nick Fuentes types seem to be uh, garnering more and more political capital um, because of this. It's very interesting how that works, and this is kind of why I'm a little bit. I won't lie, I'm a little bit pessimistic. I'm a little bit blackpilled on all of this because it's really seeming like we're just slowly moving towards the worst outcome. I think maybe not the worst outcome, but not a good outcome, not the preferable outcome. You see what I'm saying? Because you know I'm not even gonna do left wing, right wing. I'm just gonna say the anti Charlie Kirk people, the people who either thought it was a good thing that he was assassinated, thought that it was reasonable that he was assassinated, thought that it made sense that he was assassinated, thought that uh, there should be no sympathy, that no empathy or anything like this for Charlie Kirk's death or assassination, I should say. All of that whole side of things uh, has not moderated whatsoever. Now, the common counterpoint a lot of people will give is that, oh, well, mainstream political figures or have all, unanimously condemned what has happened. But firstly, I don't even think that's really true. Let's start there because people will say that, and then I'll see podcasts after the fact of, I believe they're after the fact. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I could have sworn I saw a podcast with Alexandria or Ocasio Cortez and some other guy. It might have been Zoran Mamdani, ironically enough, but it was some other guy, and they were just talking about like oh, why it wasn't a good thing, obviously, that he was assassinated, but that Charlie Kirk was like a bad guy and that he was actually racist and that he had all these opinions that were problematic and, so on and so forth. And you can say that. It's not that it's like, oh, were you saying that people have to like the guy? No one's saying you have to like the guy if you didn't like the guy. But do you not understand, like, am I tripping? Am I going crazy here? Like, when you say, okay, yeah, it's really bad that they assassinated him, but that guy was an asshole. What the fuck is that not literally just like carrying water for the people who did it? Like, that's you normalizing it. What's the right word for it? Like, you're giving an excuse, you're excusing it. You're saying it's not a good thing, but I understand why they did it. So it still puts you on the same side of that. Like, and I don't think that's being like that's being too extremist or partisan to just say that anybody on any like any I mean, like there's no nuance on that. I don't think that's something that's deserving of nuance. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're one of these people saying that, like, giving any type of, because we're talking about a political assassination here, if you're giving any type of nuance to the, well, it makes sense that people would want to, like, it's pro or anti-assassination. It's pro or anti-political violence. That's really what it's coming down to. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like with those, everyone at the time, we've all forgotten about it now. We don't even know the people's names now. Those senators in Minnesota with that crazy case with some crazy guy that used to work for them, sort of, kind of, or whatever, and specifically targeted these guys for questionable reasons. That case is still not like very clear on what's going on with that. But a lot of people brought that up as like, okay, why wasn't there all this rigmarole when that case transpired? And there's two things. For one, people didn't really know that was going on. That seemed to be a much more local type of case, like a local true crime case and everything like this, even though it was crazy. So it did break out into the mainstream a little bit, especially after the Charlie Kirk assassination, because that was a higher profile case. But yeah, it's just a lower profile case. These were Minnesota. I don't think they were like state senators. Like they weren't representing Minnesota in like a federal assembly type shit. Like, I'm pretty sure they were within their own state, senators within that state, making laws for that state, not making laws on behalf of the entire country. Which, it's not, it's not, you're not like pulling rank. One could argue that that's a more important position than, the being a U.S. senator. But, it's just a matter of fact, like, that it's less people are gonna know who you are. I don't even know who my state senators are. Now, maybe I'm flexing, some stupidity there. maybe I'm over here. It's like, bro, look at how stupid I am. Like, okay, well, most people don't know. Let's be real, okay? Like, generally speaking, most people don't know who, the inner machinations and the inner workings of their local politics, which they should. You could argue they should, and I would argue that as well. And I should know who they are, but it just is what it is. Such is life. But the point is, yeah, these are local guys, so it was a local story. You see what I'm saying? And so, but the difference is, right-wing people, Republican people didn't sit down and say, oh, well, yeah, that's obviously a tragic case and that should not happen. But like, low-key, those guys, they supported this, that, and the other. Like, they low-key had some questionable opinions. Like, it kind of makes sense that like, no one was saying that. They're just saying, well, we didn't know about it. And now that we do, yeah, that's kind of crazy. They're saying, oh, people made jokes about it. Who made jokes about it? I'm so tired of that. Oh, they just made jokes about who? Like some Twitter people? Even some Twitter people, like who? Which Twitter people? Or who was making jokes about that? It's a tragic case. Some crazy guy goes into these guys' house. I think it was a husband and wife duo. And went into these guys' house and murdered them. Like, what's funny about that? Now, I'm not trying to be like a prude and, like, oh, you can only joke about this, that, and the other. And I don't like all this poisoning of the well where now it becomes, oh, well, now you're saying you're not allowed to make jokes about it. That's just going to make people want to make more jokes about Charlie Kirk and everything. And we'll touch on that. But, it's not about it's not about if you have to like the guy or that you can't make jokes about it. But it's just like, what is that? culturally, like, where is that putting us? Societally, where is that putting us? What are you implying with that? With every meme, a lot of people just like to act like, oh, this is just a funny haha meme. I was watching something a little bit ago where it's like this lady, she on YouTube or whatever. She has like a whole series breaking down, kind of like it's kind of like a meme history, but like specifically her corner, like her niche is like with like degenerate, like pseudo pornographic shit. I know I'm not like giving the best pitch of this lady or whatever, but you know, but she was doing an episode on like some, you know, how back in the day, I hate how like 2017 is back in the day, but we're coming up on a decade now. And we're coming up on 2026, so yeah, maybe it was back in the day. But like 2016, 2017, 2018 times, it was like a very commonplace meme on the internet for like, you would see like these shirtless, muscular dudes just like dancing and shit like that, and they would edit that shit into all types of memes and everything like that. And she was going into the background that, and obviously it just comes from like some gay porn, but she was talking about like muscle worship and kind of, you know, how that broke into the meme sphere and how seeming, and it really does make you think of, it's like, oh, like there's like this weird thing on the internet, like just with what muscle worship in general, you know what I mean, like the Chad meme, it's always going to be some big hulking muscular dude and everything like that. Like it's just really, like there's a lot of memes that revolve around that, where the joke is just like, this is a huge muscular guy, you know what I mean. Not to get away from the topic too much, but the point is, you know, the reason I brought that up is just because there's like an underlying, you know, there's an underlying reason why memes become memes, or why people will find certain memes funny, and there's an origin to it. You see what I'm saying? Not to psychoanalyze things being funny or to explain the joke too much, but there's a reason why there's different people with different sense of humor. There's no such thing as something being objectively funny, not necessarily. You see what I'm saying? And so if you're like right now, 3 months after the fact, what it is among certain people, they'll just post either, you know, stills or certain gifs of Charlie Kirk, specifically with the one of him drinking that coffee and making like a funny face, having a funny reaction, everything like that. And they'll do that like in reaction to something being like, you know, it's a reaction gif to maybe something being like ridiculous, or like showing extreme disagreement with something or something of that nature. Some type of, oh, like, that's ridiculous. This is absurd. You're being absurd. Or something like that. And they'll put like a Charlie Kirk gif. And it's like, okay, so what are you saying? Are you saying that Charlie Kirk is absurd? Okay, maybe that's one interpretation. But it's also kind of like, there's also like this element of like, you deserve to die for this opinion. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's so absurd. Look at this Charlie Kirk. This is somebody who also had absurd opinions. Look at what happened to him. You see what I'm saying? And you can sit here and be like, okay, well, you're psychoanalyzing memes too much. It's funny because I used to do that. I used to be anti-psychoanalyzing memes, because I would see certain people that I would disagree with try and, you know, psychoanalyze Harambe and, you know, Keck and Pepe. And I'm like, bro, I'm not in the people who are out here trying to give me a dissertation and analyzing memes to this level and everything like that. Like, bro, stuff can just be fun to be funny. But in reality, I mean, there is a truth to that. Whether I think it's worth doing it or not, that doesn't mean that there's no merit in doing it. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of where we're 3 months after the fact, and that's the result. That's all Charlie Kirk really meant. It's just like in the wider zeitgeist, in the wider society, all it really did is, you know, made him more of a meme figure. Now he's just gonna be a living meme. That's kind of his legacy, is that he's a meme now, which I guess is, you know, it's better than nothing, I suppose, because in one sense it won't be forgotten. But are you taking away the right messages? It's not just, okay, well, edgy people are gonna be edgy. Well, edgy jokes may work because there's an underlying understanding that this is very, very bad. You know what I mean? Like there's certain gifs and everything like that where it'll be like, you know, it's like that scene from SpongeBob where like SpongeBob's walking past Squidward holding something, then it'll just be a box that says child porn, and then Squidward's looking like, yo, what? Yo, what is that? And it's like crazy because it's like, why is SpongeBob holding a box that says child porn? And it's Squidward's reaction. It's like, okay, so that's an edgy joke, but at the same time, it's like it's coming from the joke. The humor comes from the ridiculous aspect of like, okay, yeah, this is such a bad thing. Of course, Squidward's reaction is gonna be that. You see what I'm saying? 9/11 jokes. A lot of that just has to do with there's so much time that's passed. So the people who make those jokes, uh, either were very young or weren't alive for when it happened, so they weren't there for that whole era and the repercussions of all of that. And so there's a lot of meta. There's a lot of meta irony to it and everything like that. But once again, it comes from it's the absurdity, it's the ridiculousness. It's like, oh my God, this is so taboo. Oh my God, why the fuck would Woody be flying into, not Woody, but Buzz Lightyear? I guess it was the both of them flying into the Twin Towers. Why would they be doing that? Oh my God, look at these guys. Like that's what it's like, a almost awkward kind of, oh my God, bro, why would you do that? Like, that's, you wrong for that. You wrong for that. That's the common saying. You're literally saying it out loud, like, okay, that's a wrong thing to do. You shouldn't do that. That's kind of what makes it funny, because it's absurd. It's edgy humor. You see what I'm saying? So, with Charlie Kirk, it's just edgy humor. Okay, you're saying it's just edgy humor. Okay, what's the humor? Okay, you wrong for that. You shouldn't joke about Charlie Kirk. You know what I mean? Okay, well, why? Why shouldn't you joke about it? Okay, well, it is a guy that's assassinated. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're already kind of putting yourself on one side of it. And because of the way the discourse is fleshed out, you can't even, it's taboo to even say, hey, you shouldn't joke about that. That's already taboo. Hey, that was a father. Hey, he was just a bog standard conservative, and we're gonna get back to that. That is like the kind of crux of this. But edgy humor, like that's kind of where, so people can't even say that, oh, you wrong for that. Well, why am I wrong for that? You'll start getting into debates. Oh, well, we joke about this, that, and the other. Why can't we joke about this? Okay, like they don't see the difference that within. I'm in my 20s and everything like that. Like within like this Zoomer, this Gen Z, this millennial, like within our lifetimes, this is probably the highest profile political assassination that we witnessed. It would have been Trump if he had died. And everything I'm saying now that we see how it's played out with Charlie Kirk, someone who's a lot less controversial than Donald Trump, that we know that it would be 10 times, 100 times worse if it was Donald Trump. That might have actually caused, not civil war. Something that people were predicting might have happened because of Charlie Kirk is the Troubles. You know what I mean? Like on some Ireland shit, some IRA shit. You would get the Troubles period, where it would be a prolonged era of acts of violence, but not necessarily widespread violence. Not a full-on war, but there'd be a bombing here, there'd be a shooting there, there'd be a targeted attack here. You know what I mean? There'd be a bomb threat there. You know what I mean? It would be stuff like that. That if Donald Trump were to get assassinated, and then we would see all of this fallout 100 times more, it would 1,000,000,000% have caused at least something like that, because that would be the highest profile political assassination probably of a generation. We probably would not see anything, barring full-on civil war. We probably wouldn't see anything like that for another 50 years or so. Because the last time we saw something like that was with JFK, and that was like 50, 60 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So, it's troubling to me that all that's come out of this 3 months later. And it's seeming like things are simmering now, because now everything's shifting towards the conservative, the Republican civil war that's going down right now between the dissident right and the establishment right. Dissident right, in my opinion, essentially being, the more, to use a clinical term, racist right, and, just the establishment mainstream right wing. Because if we're being real, when you talk about Nick Fuentes and all these type of people, the reason why they're dissident is because they're largely anti-Semitic, they're largely race realists, they are largely segregationists. You know what I mean? maybe not go as far as not white nationalists, but they're definitely like adjacent. Like they don't think it would not be a bad thing. If you go up to a mainstream Republican and be like, hey, are you for white nationalism? Do you think, white people should have some type of ethno state? Even if it doesn't all of the US, but maybe they should have a state or some states or some regions where it's only white only. They'll be like, nigga, what? What's wrong with you? What the fuck are you talking about? Is this a bit? You know what I mean? They would be vehemently against it. And then they'd be like, okay, but if it happened, would you be cool with that? Like, would you fight against it? Would you move? Would you? And they'd be like, probably yes. They'd probably like, yeah, nigga, like what? I'd fight tooth and nail to repeal that. I would actively protest against that. You see what I'm saying? I'd actively vote against that. That's what a mainstream generic Republican would say. The majority of them, the vast majority of them, in my opinion. Now, if you go and ask someone on the dissident right, one of these more Nick Fuentes type of guys, one of these more Baked Alaska. I'm saying Baked Alaska is that name sounds more problematic than it is. I don't think Baked like he's definitely within the underground right, more so dissident right, but he is not. He's not Andrew Anglin is kind of what I'm thinking of. Baked Alaska is more of just like a guy. You know what I mean? I don't think he even has real opinions. I think he just wants to be popular. Is my understanding of him. But you know what I mean? Like these I can't think of fucking names. I can't think of names, but yeah, like Andrew Anglin types and everything like this. If you go and ask them, hey, you know what I mean, should there be a white ethno state? Should you have some states or some regions, or should the U.S. in general just be like a white ethno state? But yeah, of course, no, that's lit. Yeah, we need that actually. That's imperative. It's not gonna be do they disagree with it or agree with it or not. It's gonna be how much do they agree with it. Do they agree with it this much or that much? Even if they say they disagree with it, it's like, okay, but if it was a white ethno state, would you be cool with that? I say, yeah, no, I can simmer in that. Yeah, no. Those are waters that I would wade in. That's fine. I'll be okay with that. I'm not gonna protest against it. I'm not gonna vote against it. Like I'm not saying that I want that, but I'm just saying if we did have it, like it'd be okay. It'd be completely okay with me. I'm all right with it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I just say to use a clinical term, not using it like as a slur, as we're so accustomed to now, but calling them the racist right. I think that's just being descriptive, and I don't think they'll disagree with that. They would just think like, okay, what do you mean by racist? So you just using it like as a slur? Are you just trying to insult me, or are you actively trying to understand my ideas? I understand their ideas. I've talked to these guys. I understand, and yeah, they're racist by design. Like not derogatory. I mean, it's not racist derogatory. It's racist descriptive. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, no, that seems to be the bigger effect of all of this Charlie Kirk stuff. Ironically enough, is that his biggest opponent, his rival, so to speak, being what's his name? Why am I like Nick Fuentes? His biggest rival being Nick Fuentes is now kind of destroying everything that he's tried to build. Try and build a new generation of, Reaganite, establishment. I forget what the actual school of thought is called, but just like bog standard traditional conservatives. He was trying to build a platform for younger people to kind of bring them into the conservative fold. And now Nick Fuentes is kind of co-opting that and bringing a lot of those guys more so into the far right, into the dissident right, the extremist right, so to speak. I just find that interesting. Like that's the effect. It didn't have any wider effect on. It's almost like that infamous TikTok that came out of some Karen White lady talking about like, oh wow, the Charlie Kirk's assassination is so great and amazing and awesome because it will not activate anybody. She used all these like what the fuck is she talking about? She said it won't politically awaken, it won't activate anybody. He's not worth it. You know what I mean? It's like, and everyone was like, okay, well, we'll show you. We'll show, like, of course, it's just rage bait at the time. But 3 months after the fact, is she not even right? Like, I hate to say that because, that video is like, I'm cringing thinking about it. But how is she not right? All that's really came over, the only thing that's changed is that now the right wing is fighting off these actual racists from taking over the party and building a significant voting base within the party. And if not, they're going to fracture off and, support the Democrats. They already did that. They tried to primary Trump and everything like this. Like, Nick Fuentes will be the first to tell you. They tried to run against him, or at least convince people not to vote for him. So they're trying to fracture the Republican Party from the inside out. Like, that's the only effect. Nobody's fighting on behalf of Charlie Kirk. Where's all these new Charlie Kirks? Oh, where are all Charlie Kirks? Like, where are they at? I know I'm being a little bit pessimistic because they do actually exist. There are a lot of younger people, a lot of new people that, come up into the scene that are unabashed about their Republican and Christian beliefs now, that are trying to be unabashed. And that is an effect of it. But at the same time, is that even a good thing? Is that even a good thing if we really sit down and think about it like that? You see what I'm saying? Are more people unabashed going around college campuses, going around man on the street, going around like sitting there pointing the finger at people? It's like, you're a sinner. You're doing it bad. I'm doing it right. You guys are pro, y'all are killing babies. Y'all doing it like, I don't think being more unabashed and being like more steadfast is necessarily like the way. You see what I'm saying? Like, all you did was stone up. All you did was get more solidified in your beliefs, which makes sense in response to what happened to Charlie Kirk. Because he tried to sit there and have a platform. He was pretty steadfast in his beliefs as well, but he sat down and tried to have conversations with people, and he did actually change his beliefs over time. That's the problem with people. Like, these people never come out here actually trying to change their mind. Changing your mind doesn't happen because I talked to one person. It happens over time. If you go and look at Charlie Kirk 5 years ago and look at him now, isn't a part of what's causing this big fracture within the Republican Party Israel? And everyone's saying that Israel killed this guy because he changed his opinion over time, over many years. He started changing his opinion on Israel and changing his outlook on Israel. So don't let people tell you that this guy was not flexible in his beliefs at all. But I don't think that's what's going to happen with this new brass of quote-unquote Charlie Kirks that are coming out. Because I think they're just going to be like, okay, well, I just got to, for Charlie now, I can't. You know what I mean? In order to honor Charlie, I'm not allowed. Or better yet, because Charlie was willing to have these conversations and willing to be reasonable with these people, they gave him a bullet in the neck. So why am I even bothering with that type of discourse anymore? I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to build up my base. I'm going to build up my audience. I'm going to point the finger at these guys. I'm going to chastise these guys. You know what I mean? It's either you're with me or against me type. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's just going to cause further balkanization, further fracturing within the populace, rather than, turning down the temperature, which is the phrase everyone's been hearing. But I strongly believe in it. I don't think all these problems that we think are supposedly this important are actually that important. You see what I'm saying? I think communal issues, I think cultural issues, those are the things that matter. And even then, the amount that they matter are not on the scale that you think they matter. They matter much more within your personal day-to-day between the people that you personally know, more than anything else. You see what I'm saying? Not to make this about something that's not, but me personally, for instance, a lot of people have opinions on this, that, the other when it comes to the whole trans issue. But with me, it's just like, well, I don't really hang out with those guys or girls or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my issue because I don't hang out with those guys. And if I did, if I'm the people that I consider close to me are not that, but if they wanted to consider being that, you see what I'm saying? That's when the conversation will come out. That's when, you know what I mean, you would go through that process. And it's not about, do I support, do I not? But it's like, why do you feel this way? Do you want to do? I wouldn't want, like, there's a reason I don't have those people in my sphere. You see what I'm saying? Just for lifestyle reasons, So if one of those people that are already in my sphere now wanted to transition into that, so to speak, that's when I would now have to deal with that. I'm trying to kind of talk around it, but I hope what I'm trying to say is is becoming apparent. Like, you know what I mean? Like it that's a cultural issue that a lot of people think is very important, which it is. It is important, but the scale of it, it's not that I need to go out onto my college campus, onto my local college campus, where it's probably a quarter of these guys identify as some, if not more, maybe even a third, identify as some type of LGBT or something like that. It's not that I gotta go on that campus and change my mind. There's only two genders. Like, you don't gotta do that within the people that I'm already hanging around, that I've deemed worthy, so to speak, and they've deemed me worthy of being within their social circles and stuff like that. That's where it comes from. And you build up a strong social base there and breed that out. So now they're going to their friends and everything like that. Like, that's how you build community. That's kind of how you build a culture. So I built a culture that is not into that type of shit. I find a lot of that shit to be kind of degenerate. I can't lie to you. So that's not within the culture and lifestyle of what I already breed out. I'm not trying to get too far away from it. I'm not trying to ramble. I'm trying to keep it pointed. But the reason why, okay, why does it matter? Okay, they went and killed this guy, but there's people who die every day. They're killing all these people in Palestine and Ukraine and everything like that. Nobody even cares. Okay, the reason it matters is because Charlie Kirk made a career. Then you can say, oh, well, look at this clip, look at that clip. I'm not talking about the clips. I'm talking about in totality, holistically. This guy made a career out of broadcasting conservative politics. Propagating conservative politics, advocating for conservative politics. He was a conservative pundit, a conservative activist. That's what he was. And that's all he was. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's where the problem is. Like, all he was a milquetoast conservative activist and pundit. And that's the guy that I guess we just decided, okay, that's the guy that we need to go and assassinate. That's too much. You can't go and do that. You can be conservative, but you can't go and be an activist. You can be conservative, but you can't believe openly in conservative things. You can be a conservative, but no, you can't actually be a conservative. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of where we're getting at. What was his big crime? That way, he believed in a smaller federal government, that he believed in low taxes, that he believed in shrinking the social safety net, that he believed in pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and hard work. Like, okay, like, what? You can say that, okay, I don't believe in those things. Those things are dumb. There's problems with those things. Okay, sure, fine. I might even agree with you. But that's all he's saying. That's really all it is. Oh, he's a Christian. He believes in Christian things. He's not pro-gay marriage. Why would he be? What Christian is? Oh, because gay marriage is allowed now? Okay, yeah, it's been like normalized now, but like, you know, what type of church? What church do you have that's allowing gay marriage? And if you do, what type of church is that? You know what I mean? Let's be real. There's problems with those are the type of churches that people be talking about are the problem. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, there are moral standards that exist within these religions, and that is one of them. And if anything, as far as the Abrahamic religions go, is Christianity not the most, at least Western Christianity, are they not like the least problematic of all of them? Like, what, you want to go to Iraq or something and go try and do gay marriage there? Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to go to like China and do gay marriage there? Like where else would you rather be gay if not the United States? The UK? I mean, okay, what's the difference? It's another Western country. It's another, you know, I can't say Christian majority country. I think it's mostly secular now, but like there's a whole church that was breeded out, like the Anglican church and everything like this, like the whole Protestant movement started there. They have a deeper history with religion than the United States does. So, like, what the fuck was his big crime? He's conservative. He's Christian. He's traditional. Like, okay. So are a lot of people. In fact, I would say the majority of the people. The West is a minority. If you want to go through the rest of the fucking world, you can say, okay, well, that's not the developed world. That's not the, okay, whatever. That's the way the majority of people are living. They're not for all of this extra shit. They're not for all this progressive shit that we think is normal. You go anywhere else, most of this shit is no. You go anywhere that's not the UK or Australia. Not even New Zealand, by the way. New Zealand has some, like, they're not for a lot of, like, the same type of progressive shit that you would think. They have the crazy types of shit as far as the death penalty. You want to talk about going to commit violent crimes and shit like that? And crime reform? They don't believe in no crime reform. They ain't going to reform you. They'll reform you in a way, I suppose. They're going to reform you from living to dead. Drug use? You're talking about, oh, you know, we should legalize all drugs and shit like this. Go try that there. Go try bringing in drugs that you will literally get. If you bring in any amount of drugs, they will put you on death row. You want to talk about motherfucking New Zealand and shit. Like, what are we talking about? I might be confusing New Zealand for the other one, but you get the point. The one that's like a tax haven. I think they're both tax havens. You get the point. You get the point. The point is the West is a minority compared to the rest of the world. So you're talking about, okay, well, he believes in like these traditionalist values. And he's, you know, reasonably sitting here and debating people on it. And that's the problem with him. And it's like, what, you would rather he just invoke it on you and not say nothing? At least he's telling you why he's doing it and how he's going to do it. I'm going to advocate for this and that policy, and this is why. You can change my mind. We can talk about it. If you really have such a fucking good argument, even if he doesn't see that, even if he's not going to have his mind changed, these things are broadcasted out to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Be that person by, all right, actually, like, I'm not agreeing with this guy on that. I'm not agreeing with this guy on that. Charlie Kirk's not seeming as reasonable as this guy that he's debating. But no, they're like, no, his hate was too, the actual line, and, you know, we're going to see what comes out in that court case with the guy who murdered him and his, you know, his trans Discord e-kidding and shit like this. But the actual line that came out was, he's too hateful. I just couldn't allow him to continue. Some hate is too much, or whatever the fuck it was. So his hate was too much. So what if I believe in everything that what if I believe in half the things that he believes in? Is my hate too much? This is kind of the point. This is where the "we are" Charlie Kirk came from, because he is just a conservative. So are you not putting the bullseye on a whole lot of conservatives, like all of the conservatives, if not most of them, that believe in all the core same things that he believes in? What if I believe in some of the things he thinks of, he believes in? Am I gonna go point for point? I believe in this. I don't believe in this. And then by the end, I'll get a score. And if I'm above a certain score, like, then I gotta get shot in the neck too. Or if I'm not, then I'm good. If it's below the score, I'm good. Like, is that what we're saying now? Like, that's like the issue, and the fact that it's that couldn't be seen by, you know, like, that message is not the one that won out. Let's say it that way. Because I'm sure a lot of people heard the message, whether they agree with it or not, or whether they wanted to hear it or not. Because there was a time right after, like in the immediate time right after it happened, where like you weren't really, you were getting socially ostracized, as you should, if you came out, you know, making jokes, this is the time where I gotta talk about how bad of a person fucking Charlie Kirk was. And if you was doing all that type of shit, like, yeah, people would see that, because like, they rightfully realize, like, dude, firstly, it's not the time. Secondly, what the fuck is wrong with you? This guy went and got, the difference is, it's not just like he died in a car accident or something. He died because someone assassinated him for his beliefs. And you're saying here talking about why you disagree with his beliefs. When somebody, the guy who went and killed him agrees with everything you're saying, and you think it's a good idea. Right now, in the aftermath of his death, the body is still warm. You talk about like why I actually disagree with everything he had to say. Yeah, they shouldn't have killed him, but everything he believes is motherfucking stupid and he's a racist and this, that, and the other. Like, what dude? If they went, I mentioned Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. If some unhinged lunatic went and assassinated her because they think she's some fucking communist, whatever the fuck, and she has all these problematic beliefs, even if I disagree with everything AOC has to say, which I pretty much do. Let me not say pretty much do, but I disagree with a lot of what she says. Even if that's the case, is that the time for me to now go out and be like, all right, guys, I get it. They should not want to murder her, but dude, like, can you believe this goofy shit? Look at this clip, man. Like, she was kind of fucking stupid, man. Like, come on. Like, come on. What do you mean, come on? Like, what are you really trying to say? You're trying to say it's a good thing that they want to assassinate her? We're better off that she's dead? Is that what you're saying? This is the politics we have now? Okay, but what about Donald Trump? What about Donald fucking Trump? I'm so tired. I'm gonna be so glad in a couple of years when we no longer have to motherfucking speak this nigga's name ever. Like, what about, okay, well, isn't he, like, I don't care. Frankly, I don't care. I'll be so real with you, I don't care. If we're talking about Charlie Kirk and political discourse and trying to turn down the temperature and your response to me is Donald Trump, like, you're not the guy that I'm really trying to talk to. I'm gonna be so real with you. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, it's just so, what's that meme image of, like, the soldiers? There's the soldiers all trying to, like, they're all up against the wall. They about to go do an op or something. Then there's a guy in a clown suit. Donald Trump is the clown suit. It just stands out. It's like, dude, like, what the fuck does Donald Trump have to do? Well, he and his rhetoric and his, like, I don't care. I'm sorry. Okay, well, aren't you the problem? Because you should care. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Y'all have made me not care. It's the boy that cries wolf. You can't go and complain about every little thing that he does, every little tweet, every little mannerism, every little joke, and then expect me to take you serious when you're trying to, draw some type of correlation between Donald Trump's rhetoric and the way that our political discourse is now. Even if you have a point, no one's going to want to hear it. You've used up too much political capital, too much attention capital, time capital, of me having to hear people bitch and moan about this orange fuck for 10 years without not one time giving him credit. If you can't one time give him credit, even when they do give him credit, there was a thing I saw recently where like, there's some giant, I think someone's trying to buy up, like, not Fox, because Disney already owns Fox. Some big conglomerates, media conglomerates, I believe, are trying to merge. And he was talking about, he gave a statement saying, like, how he didn't like that and how they might have to look into that because that might be like antitrust. And everyone was like, oh my God, like they were still criticizing him because they were saying, oh, he just hasn't got paid yet. He's like a mob boss. He's only saying that because he's not benefiting. But is it a good policy or not? Is he right or is he wrong? Is he right to be against that or not? Yo, there's still no, okay, well, you're just looking at internet people and shit like that. Like, no, I really don't think so. I think any generic person you walk up to and ask them, hey, do you think this is a good or bad thing? And then you preface it by saying this is what Donald Trump believes. They're automatically going to try and have either an adversarial position or the opposite position just because it's Donald Trump. That's the generic person. Now, if you go and find a politically knowledgeable person, a pundit, somebody who studies these things, maybe he made the mistake of doing poli-sci in college. He has a degree. If I go and ask them, they're going to do the same thing, but in a lot of words. They're going to say, well, I find it interesting that Donald Trump would be against this. You know exactly what the fuck they would say. It has absolutely nothing to do. And this is why, like, I'm not even into this politics shit. I'm going to be so for real. I made 2 videos about this. I'm making a motherfucking, how long is this shit? We at like 45 minutes? We're at around 45 minutes. Like, I'm doing these hour-long fucking rants talking about this shit. But the only reason I'm doing it is because I felt like this Charlie Kirk thing superseded politics. I felt like, I thought it did. At least I thought it did. I thought that it should rise above politics. Because y'all just went and assassinated a dude for being a conservative. He wasn't even an extremist. If it happened to Nick Fuentes, we would be having a whole another conversation. It's still obviously not okay, but it's such a bit different conversation. This guy was a moderate. He was a moderate. And the fact that people can't see that is a part of the problem. Because you're going to go look at other moderates and think they're the same. So what the fuck am I? If I believe in the core things that he believes in. I'm not saying I do or don't. But I'm saying, what if somebody does? It's like, yeah, no, I want lower taxes. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I go to church. Yeah, I believe in traditional stuff. Yeah, like traditional gender roles and everything like that. Yeah, I believe in all that. Yeah, I'm not big into that LGBT shit. Like, not at all, actually. Yeah, I don't want them to be teaching my kids that shit. If I'm gonna be so for real with you, that makes me uncomfortable. All that shit, that should be real. Even if you disagree with it, is that not reasonable shit? These are debates that we debate. These are issues that we have to compromise on. Like, we debate about these things. We argue over these things. In the mainstream, in the political mainstream, we talk about these things. And you're saying one whole side of that politically mainstream argument is an extremist argument? How? It literally not. By definition, it can't be. You go look at like the trans issue, trans people in sports. That's a 90-10 issue. Trans shit in giving hormones and puberty blockers to kids. That's like a 90-10 issue. If you're just talking about polling, well, we don't like polling now. That's polling data. That's a 90-10 issue. Lower taxes? I'm not gonna say that's a 90-10 issue, but the vast majority of people want lower taxes. They want if I can pay less rather than more. Nobody willingly wants to pay more taxes. Hey, you for lower taxes? No, I want more taxes. Now, in so many words, they might say, well, actually, I think we should have like state health care. We should have single payer health care. So if my taxes need to go up to pay for that, I'm okay with that. That might actually be what they say, but just straight up, hey, generally speaking, higher taxes or lower taxes? Obviously lower taxes. Who the fuck is saying higher taxes? What, some fucking multimillionaire in like LA? You know what I mean? Who thinks it's gonna go to saving homeless people or some shit? Like, who the fuck would think? If you want, like, you can literally, you understand, like, you're allowed to write a check to the IRS, like, just like separate from anything, and they'll accept it, and that'll go into the money pool of what it's not like they're not gonna do anything. Like that goes into that's federal revenue now. Like, you can do that. You can donate money. They should allow people to do that and have that be tax deductible, if it isn't already, by the way, just to get it on a random policy point. But they 100%. So the people who have the money to just go and spend, to go gamble away, assuming that their government or the federal government, worse yet, will go and do something productive with it. If you're willing to take that gamble and you have the money to do it, then you go do it. But I frankly, like, I'm trying to motherfucking figure out how I'm going to pay my bills, and you're trying to take more of that to do what? To do what? To go teach my kids about like zoophilia and anal sex and shit like that? Oh, no one's doing that. Go look it up. There are books. Some of these books they're talking about banning me talking about that. To go do motherfucking drag queen story hour with my 9-year-old? To go give them puberty blockers behind my back and then take them away from me when I don't want to call him her? Like, that's what I want to give my money to? I don't know, man. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know if I'm going to do another one of these. I guess the next one will be 1 year after. We did one season after. I guess we will do 1 year after. So I guess in September of next year, I could do another one just to kind of see after a year where shit goes. But I don't think I'm going to do another one of these up until then. Because there's nothing that, like, it's sad. It's depressing. It makes me depressed every single time I fucking talk about it, because it never goes the way that you would hope it would go. It would never go the way that you would hope. Like, you carve out, you get in your mind, you build up this fantasy that, like, this is gonna change people. This is gonna make people wake up. This is gonna make people think like, hey, oh, because we disagree doesn't mean this nigga's evil. It just means we disagree. And I still think that's the core of it. Every time that I talk to people about it and everything, like the people who are on the pro-assassination side, if I'm being cynical, but the people on that side of things, they're saying like, hey, well, you know, Charlie Kirk supported this policy that, you know, I mean, for instance, like some policy against trans people or some shit like that, anti-trans policy, and that directly leads to trans people killing themselves or making their lives significantly harder. So why wouldn't I be for him not being able to do that anymore, even if that means he dies? And it's just like, it's so skewed. It's so, your whole mindset, your whole mental, your whole psychology, your whole ideology is so skewed that you believe because now I can't be against you without wanting to murder you, according to you, is what you're telling me. And all you're doing is opening it up. You're just opening up a slippery slope to where now someone's like, hey, why shouldn't I be allowed to fuck this child? Why not? Because if you tell me I'm not, you're really just trying to kill me. So I might as well just shoot you in the head right now. Why not? You're creating this slippery slope to where I'm not allowed to disagree with anything you say, or I'm actively against your existence. Someone was talking to me the other day who I guess is experimenting with that side of things. If you're picking up on what I'm putting down. And he was like, oh, so do you not believe in trans rights? Or not trans rights, that's not what he said. If he said that, that'll make things easier. He said, do you not believe that trans people should exist? Not that they do exist, but that they should exist. It's just that framing. It's that whole framing. It's with that whole community, with that whole block of people, just the framing of it, that they should exist. Which implies that I shouldn't think they should exist. Which implies that I think they should be dead. If you don't exist, that you're not a person. You don't exist. Like, no, it has nothing to do with any of that. I just don't want you to be giving weirdo drugs to my fucking kid because he likes to play with Barbies or something like that. He says he likes pink. He walks a certain way or talks a certain way. He dressed up as some whatever the fuck, some K-pop bitch. Some League of Legends character for Halloween. And you're trying to give him some fucking drugs or some shit like that. Like, that's what I'm against. It has nothing to do with you. You're an adult. Do whatever the fuck you want. Like, who cares? Who are you hurt? Like, why does that affect me, what you do? It's the kids that don't know no better. That's the fucking issue. And it's also you trying to dictate how other people have to now, like, address and interact with you and other people. It's on God, like, low key. It's sneaky, narcissistic. I was talking to one of these people the other day. They were talking about the Charlie Kirk thing, and they was talking like, look, like, we tried, all we did was ask you to use our pronouns, and you don't want to use our pronouns, and then you go and make this legislation and everything, so how could you expect us to not want to? I'm like, yo, do you not listening to yourself? And the fact that that's like that doesn't get called out. Like, I'm hearing the narcissism in there. I'm hearing the low-key sociopathic tendencies there. We asked you to use our pronouns and you didn't want to do it. Why should, like, what? Don't you have to convince us? It's not that you're asking, like, why are you dictating that this is how we have to, like, this is what I'm saying, man. Like, is it not? You're so motherfucking better than me that I have to sit here and address you by however the fuck you want me to address you by. Who are you? I don't know who you are. Maybe if I knew you and respected you, okay, let me say whatever the fuck I need to say to appease this person because I actually respect their opinion and shit like that. I don't know who you are. And you're telling me that if I don't do this, then you're viewing that like as a slight and that I deserve to die? Because I didn't want to call you motherfucking Z-Zer. I didn't want to call you Z-Zer or it's. I didn't want to call you an it, so I deserve to die. Like, dude, what are we doing? And this is where political discourse is going. This is the political discourse that has won out. Because y'all went and murdered this guy for trying to not have that type of political discourse. And look where that's gotten us. It got him dead, and now he's become a meme. You're low-key mocking the memory of him. But creating, which, maybe you shouldn't go that far. People can make memes out, whatever the fuck it is. But on God, if we're being so for real, are we really talking like there's not an element of just sitting there and mocking the legacy of this guy by turning him into a living meme for all the wrong reasons? Like you could be a living meme like Harambe. Why does Harambe get more respect than Charlie Kirk? There's obvious reasons for it. Harambe is apolitical. And Harambe is also a gorilla. He's not a person. Harambe has no beliefs that we know of. But at the same time, you see what I'm saying? Why do gay Japanese porn actors get more respect than Charlie Kirk as far as the meme sphere goes? Because it's not, maybe it started off with mocking with those things, but those have become like endearing like parts of meme culture. Gay porn actors, that's endearing. Charlie Kirk, that's hilarious. Look at this dude. Traditional beliefs, what? Conservative? Nigga, what? You believe in God? Oh my God, bro. Someone go make him a meme right now. Go post this funny gif of him right now. I don't know, man. This is depressing, bro. This is depressing. On God, this is depressing. And I don't know where it goes. Honestly, I probably do know where it goes. It goes in the exact, most depressing angle that I could possibly think of, which is that we just slowly move towards grievance politics is the term I want to use, but I don't think that's the correct term. Perhaps I need to coin a new one. We move towards self-defense politics. Self-defense politics, where my politics are revolved around those people who are trying to harm and or kill me. We're going to move slowly towards self-defense politics. There's probably a better term for it. Maybe I'll come up with one a year from now. Because now it kind of just sounds like the politics of self-defense. But I'm talking about my politics revolve around the opposite of what the people I deem are trying to kill me have. And we're just going to move towards that. And that's a type of extremism. It's not like obvious extremism, but it's a type of extremism that is low-key more seditious. Because it makes sense. It can make sense to a lot of people. Well, if they're trying to kill you, then yeah, you should definitely probably be able to do this and such legislation to make it harder for them to do that. Yeah, those guys definitely aren't worth conversating with. They're definitely not worth trying to understand because they're just trying to kill you. They're terrorists. Why should you try and understand them? All of that while wages go down, profits go up. The stock market's doing great, I'm sure. No one can get a house. Credit card debt is up. Everything costs more. Products get worse. Oh, that's just late-stage capitalism. You know what? Maybe, but good luck talking about that. Because all y'all late-stage capitalism type niggas, ain't no one gonna want to believe you now. Because y'all just went and murdered the guy. That was a free market dude. Y'all murdered one of y'all opponents instead of beating them out. Y'all are already winning. It's obvious. The economy fucking sucks. Shit's worse. Everything's worse. And shitification. That's a thing for a reason. Every industry is fucking worse. Gaming industry, music industry, movie industry, every industry is fucking worse. Everything costs more. Day by day. One day is this price, the next day is that price. At the fucking McDonald's. At the fucking grocery store. We all see that. Y'all could have won out. Y'all could have just made a better argument, but y'all didn't. Y'all didn't do that. Y'all called him a fascist, and y'all killed him and tried to justify it. Y'all murdered him and tried to justify it. And now y'all expect us to want to listen to you when it comes to your solutions on anything. No, you could be right, but it don't matter. It don't matter. It didn't matter then. It doesn't matter now. That's all it is. And isn't that fucking depressing? That's kind of the crux of the. That's the core. That's the moral of the story. It's all depressing. Goodbye.